simple as that, because diversity is good. Diversity is needed to be. It's not something. It's not nice to have. It's a must to have. When you have a round table, equality and diversity, you have different mindsets. So you have the rich ideas there and different view, covering the whole perspectives. And that's what is needed. It's either on a business perspective or also on a personal level.
Hi, I'm Tracy Lovejoy.
And I'm Shannon Lucas. We are the co-CEOs of Catalyst Constellations, which is dedicated to empowering Catalyst to create bold, powerful change in the world.
This is our podcast, Move Fast, Break Shit, Burn Out, where we speak with Catalyst executives about ways to successfully lead transformation in large organizations.
And today I'm super excited to have time with Loubna Imenchal. She's the Logitech's head of enterprise business for Africa, Middle East, Turkey, and the Central Asia region. She's a seasoned leader with over 20 years of experience. She's renowned for her strategic acumen. She drives sales, operational management, and business development with unwavering commitment. She's the leader of Logic Connect and Elevate, which I hope we'll talk about, a platform that supports women in tech. She's passionately advocating for women in technology, and she's recognized as a female thought leader. She's got a distinguished background encompassing executive roles at industry-leading companies like Johnson Controls, Jabra, Honeywell, FedEx. She brings a wealth of experience and expertise to her pursuits, and we're excited to learn from them today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Tracy, for having me today. Thank you for the introduction. Amazing. You covered it almost all. I have nothing to add to that.
Perfect.
I'm super happy to join the podcast of Catalyst, because it is actually aligned with the purpose of, as you mentioned, Connect to Elevate, that I would love to highlight during this podcast. Because you are looking for people who are making changes, right? And it is actually what the purpose of Connect to Elevate. And as you mentioned, Shannon, I've been since I started my career with multinational companies. Most of them are American, and the industry is completely different. So like, it's Honeywell and Johnson Control has nothing to do with FedEx or Logitech. It's two different industry. I would say the Honeywell and Johnson Control are male dominated 100% companies, because they are dedicated to very heavy industry. And then we moved to FedEx, which is completely different, and then Logitech, which is actually the hardware company, tech. All of them, they are under technology, but different one, right? And during this experience, I got to understand the challenges as a woman facing. I know it sounds a bit cliche, and people are like tired of hearing that women are facing challenges in the industry overall, and then specifically in tech industry, when we are like under 5% as women, and that is something taking time to improve. And people like you, Shannon and Tracy, we are part of these changes to give back and to make the voices heard by a lot of people. And thank you for that. And that's the reason why I accepted actually to join your podcast. And this alignment with our purpose in Connect to Elevate, which means bringing women to this platform and trying to connect them with the decision makers and also with the investors if they have projects in the tech industry. This is exactly what we would love to empower, even though I don't like the word empowering, because women, she doesn't need the power, she's giving birth to she's giving birth, basically, right? So as I always say, how you can give birth to a man and then ask him to empower you again? It's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
As a nature, right? So she doesn't need. She just need opportunities. I would say she just need to be heard, rather than being empowered. Because once she has the opportunity, and she's not afraid to take it anymore, because she has other responsibilities in parallel, then she can shine. And I'm not saying that only because I'm a woman, but at the same time, last time, as I mentioned, if it was women, I would say, dominated industry, I would say, where are the men? Simple as that,
Totally.
because diversity is good. Diversity is needed to be. It's not something. It's not nice to have. It's a must to have. When you have a round table, equality and diversity, you have different mindsets. So you have the rich ideas there and different view covering the whole perspectives. And that's what is needed. It's either on a business perspective or also on a personal level. That's why it is very important. And as I mentioned before, this is the objective of this platform. And if this industry was like 90% women, we could have talking now about men. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
I love the perspective. It's like it's the agenda being getting the best outcomes is sort of what I hear from you by being inclusive and intentional about who you're bringing to the table. I'm curious, though, Tracy and I both had also decades of experience in technology. And when we were, having our pre-conversation, you were talking about how if people look at your journey, it might be a little bit disturbing to some people. And I'm wondering if you can talk about your journey as a catalyst, now that you understand that concept, and maybe how some of those roles have and challenges along the way have led you to the work that you're doing today.
Well, actually, my journey is a bit like driven by the fact that uh, um, I'm driven by the change, like the comfort zone being for a long time in the same company or in the same role. It's getting me. I became bored, and when I'm bored, I cannot produce anything anymore. I feel like I'm the one giving more to the company. I'm not learning, and if I'm not learning, I'm not living. I'm not breathing. And this fear, I would say, of not anymore feeling alive, it's what drives me all the time to change and uh, I would say looking for innovation on daily basis, which is hard. It's not easy, right? It's because when you are looking for the changes, basically you are like how say that, starving new information, always visionary, always looking for which market I can open new and which culture I can know, and at the same time learning every day. It makes me feel more humble every day because I feel very, very small in this big world, you know. So it's not only seeing opportunities where others see challenges, right? It's also being inspired to say, oh my God, how this is what I'm missing. I'm just like at 10% of what's going on in the world, right? And you be I became like humble and also uh, more inclusive, encouraging inclusivity because I feel like there is a lot of to learn from each other. Uh, from cultural perspective, looking after 72 countries and trying to learn each culture, make me more in the fact to be, how say that, in tolerance, and there is no, and then I figure out like we're all human, you know, and that's bring you that the fact that you can't judge because being human, it should give us solidarity at all over the world, and look what the world is doing, and that's basically from ignorance. It's not from learning, because the more you learn, the less ignorant you are, the more tolerant you can. So this this is for me what's inspired me on daily basis. So and I learned so much, and I've been, I would not say lucky, because I, honestly speaking and humbly speaking, I looked for this luck.
Yeah.
So I was like going and saying, hey, give me more. I want more. How can I do that? And when they said like, oh, you cannot go to Africa, it's very risky. I cannot go to those regions, it's very risky. What is it? I can't do it. Just test me, give me. So this type of challenge and this love of being always in the challenge, it's more inspiring for me than being like, I just want to have a title,
Yeah.
because I could have another title and flying on my private jet if I stayed, for example, in FedEx, which is
Yeah.
this is what they do.
Yeah.
And that this is because of the business, for example. But I was not attracted by that. I was more attracted about being on the field, being with the team, focusing on creating more impact, navigating through uncertainty, and dealing with ambiguity.
Yes.
That's also is very important because you don't know everything when you make decisions. And balancing the big picture thinking with practical actions, I would say, to deliver the results. So I don't know, Shannon, if I answered to your question and I covered it.
Yeah, 100%. I have a million more questions, but I'm going to let Tracy ask the follow-up question.
Please.
I'm
Oh,
going to give a broad question, but I'm going to get a little narrow. So in general, we love to learn from Catalyst leaders the biggest challenges you have faced as a Catalyst executive. But before we dive there, I want to follow this thread of being a woman in technology, especially in the Middle East. And for me, hearing your story is so beautiful. Something that really was loud for me in getting to read about you is looking that you have been celebrated as one of 30 tech leaders driving
Correct.
digital transformation in the Middle East, in the Middle East economy organization, magazine. And it's so shocking to me as I look at the list of those 30 leaders that it is you and one other woman.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think almost every society in the world sees how small women in tech are, but particularly in this list in the Middle East, it was really jarring to see you and Amel's, I believe Amel Chadli is the other woman. I'd love to say her name since it's just the two of you. And so I'd love to understand, what has your journey been like and the challenges you face as a female Catalyst executive in these organizations where you've grown up?
Well, thank you, Tracy, for highlighting this. I mean, first of all, economy in Middle East, they are very, very how say that the process of selecting is it's very tough. The business case that they get, they have to verify the information, they have to go deeply, and and as I mentioned to them, I was like, why we don't have enough women? I mean, they said, like, we couldn't find. I said, come on. They said, listen, Loubna, it is the truth. In the Middle East, we couldn't find. It's either they are in the middle career, or it's not, they don't want to show all the case that they covered, or they're afraid of us. We're gonna, go and because we need to do the due diligence and so on. And basically women, they want to be perfect to apply or to get to this. I personally didn't apply. They looked for that and they put it. So they looked for all the information and they ran out everything. So as you mentioned, I was very surprised when I saw only Amal, which is coming from Schneider, which is the competition of Johnson Control, basically. And they've been looking for women in those specific, very specific industries, niche, where you cannot find a woman, like literally speaking. Now it's changing. I don't want to be pessimistic. It's changing, but it's taking a lot of time because to get to the VP position or SVP as I was in Johnson Control, you need to prove yourself and you need to have a lot of years of experience, and not only experience, of, I would say, achievement. Achievement is different than experience. You can be
Yes.
20 years in the same company, but if you do not achieve what the board member is asking you to do or overachieving it to make the difference. I will share a very, very small example. When I was in Johnson Control, my job was actually to manage the region. When I came up and I said, look, if you want me to manage it, give me key, I would say, achievement that you want me to do. Don't tell me only managing. What is the board member is needed? The board member that they are based in US, in Milwaukee, what they want, right? They said, Loubna, we want you to improve the margin of the region. That's just an example, Tracy. And I was like, okay, how can I have the way of how to do it. However, it's not aligned with the company locally. This is just to show you the mindset because I said, why the previous VP, who was an American guy, very smart guy, in the same position as mine for 8 years, and he couldn't do it. They said, look, Lubna, come on with your proposal and let us know, because he was executing. And that is the different mindset. Someone
Yeah.
is executing. And when I came, humbly speaking, I didn't want to execute. I wanted to make the difference. So this
Mm.
mindset of coming with an idea and say, hey, don't tell me I am in this position to do one, two, three. This one, two, three is the basics of the job. But what can make me different? That
Well,
is what I'm looking for.
I love so many elements of what you're pointing to. And there's a really common tension that catalysts experience within part of what you're telling us that I'd love to go deeper. So you mentioned that we need a track record in our experience of achievement. And in particular, you pointed to what the board is asking for, right? And often catalyst tension is that there's what the organization is telling us it wants. And then as a catalyst, it's what you see is needed, either given the vision they have in place, the strategy, what you see happening in the world or the marketplace. And so you mentioned both things, right? And earlier you said, I'm driven by the change and it's kind of dangerous when I'm bored. So
Correct.
how do you balance the fact that you know you need to achieve aligned to what those in power are asking, and as a catalyst, seeing what other people don't see and therefore are not asking?
I will share with you two examples. And I find out like sharing examples is the best way of explaining things. So the mindset can start not only as a VP or SVP or high level position, because the mindset started with with the beginning, like how you see things as a person, right? So for example, in Honeywell, when I applied for Honeywell, I was rejected 5 times, literally speaking. Why? Because the job description was specifically designed for someone who has engineering background and the male. Those two elements. It back in 2008. Now you cannot precise that you want a male, right? But back in that time, it was allowed indirectly speaking. So the agency told me, we cannot hire you, Lubna. You are coming from FedEx. You are coming from Alcatel mobile phone. So what do you want to do within Honeywell? You are not engineer. You are not, why you want to be a country manager for a company that you don't even know what they are selling as solutions, because it's very close industry. And I was saying, give me 10 minutes with your clients, which are the jury hiring from Honeywell. 10 minutes for them. If I don't convince them that I'm not right the profile, then you have nothing to lose. Present all your candidates and give me 10 minutes. Like literally speaking, 10 minutes, not more, not 15, not 20. And they were like, okay, by the end, we're going to ask our client if he wants to meet with you. And they asked the jury member and they told him, hey, there is a lady. She wants to meet with you. She has no background from your industry. We do not recommend her as an agency, but she's insisting to meet with you. And guess what? When I met with those people, they said, oh, she's insisting. Okay, let's meet with her if it's 10 minutes. We still have time. Okay. And I've been lucky because they give me these 10 minutes. And I told them, listen, I know that you are hiring country manager for Morocco back in that time. I am Moroccan. I'm based there. I know this country very well. You are specifying this and this and this in your job description. However, the one that you need because you have no one and you don't have offices yet, you need someone who's going to open the door for you in the government sector, in healthcare sector, and in this. Once I open those doors, then I can hire people who can execute my strategy. And I don't need to know your product in detail, because the people that I'm going to talk to, they don't know the product. They want actually someone who can represent American company in a better way and have a win-win relationship from partners, from end users. And then they said, wow, we didn't think about this like that. I said, if you bring someone else who's coming from competition, he's going to do the same thing, but he's going to expect you to guide him. Can you guide someone in a market that you don't know? They said, no. And I said, this is it. You are based out of US, based out of Europe. You have no idea about this market. You have no idea about the go-to-market strategy. And the person that you are bringing from the competition, she will need your support because he's used to work in this environment. He's used to have someone giving him all things. So you are checking the boxes without without being market driven. You are a product driven approach, completely different. So the guy likes my speech and my way. And about 9 minutes, and I said, I have only 1 minute left. Do you still want me to continue, or are we gonna stop it here? It's up to you. Then they said, look, you know what? We want to hear more. So I said, this is how I'm going to do it. And I have no idea about your product. And I gave them the right way of how to do it. That started back in 2008. So I was used to that and I got promoted 4 times within Honeywell. And every time that I'm looking for a promotion, I don't even expect it because I bring ideas to the management and I say, hey, this is how I look at it. I'm not afraid to share with you. This is the market. The key idea here is always to be market driven and never product driven. Once you are a product driven person, you are closing all the stores and thinking from your own perspective without bringing any innovation to the table from leadership perspective or from go-to-market strategy. You cannot have a go-to-market strategy based only on your product. You have to include the one who's buying it. And when I came to Johnson Control, it was the same. I said, okay, what the board member means, what is important for them? They said profitable business. I said, okay, how do you want me to make profitable business when I'm selling solutions that they are dedicated to US markets? They said, well, this is what we have. I said, no, we have to adapt our solutions. And I'm going to open a manufacturer in India. It's going to produce for me. And another one in Saudi that's going to produce for my markets. And this is how I'm going to make the margin. Not in the way that you used to do it. Because the guy that he was before me, he's a very smart guy, but he was afraid of bringing this to the table. And I said, guys, if you want to hire me, this is my actually conditions, because I want to be successful in this job. Either you allow me to be it, or you are making me to be everything to fail on it. So I cannot accept it. It has to be a win-win relationship. And then they said, we cannot give you those project Loubna. We cannot give you this investment. We don't know you yet. I said, fair enough. Give me 6 months. I go to my markets. I observe it. And I bring you all the list of the orders with the specific orders. Those specific orders will give you actually visibility on what I want in my markets. And believe me, if I manufacture them locally, everyone is happy. It's local manufacturing. Customer is happy because he's encouraging local economy. He will buy a product that is aligned with what he wants. And you are going to be happy because I'm going to create margin for you. So for me, it is very simple because it's about logic, right? The challenge here, Tracy, to answer to your question, is having actually the courage to go and say that to the people and say, hey, I'm not going to work for you until we align for this and this. Because usually people, they take the job.
Yes.
This is the job and I want to be in a VP or NSVP or whatever.
Yes.
But I wanted, and I was like telling them, hey, I don't want to join the company just to get the title. I want to succeed in my job. And the way of succeeding is to make you profitable and also to succeed in my mission. It has to be aligned. And the perfect timing, and the perfect timing to do that is not after you've been in the company, is in the beginning. Because 100%. Otherwise it's too late.
It's too late because they think that they're hiring a widget salesperson, and you're like, I'm going to bring you a strategic market, strategy, I guess strategic strategy. But I love what you're talking about too, because it's like, there's what people say that they want. And the board probably even said, we want more profitable business. So, but what you did was challenge them on with your deep market sensing, the dot connecting, the cultural understanding that you were bringing to the table. You were addressing something that they knew or wanted in a way that they hadn't thought about yet, which I think is really important going back to Tracy's question, because it was like, there's often a stated intention from the leaders at the C-suite or the board, but the thing that catalysts need to reconcile is that thing that you're working on potentially just another way to get at that? And I think, also always leveraging, like, when you can leverage what the customers in the market are saying, then it doesn't even have to be Loubna thinks. It's like you said, here's the orders from the customers. Like, don't take my word for it. Here's how we got there.
And the funny thing is when we start customizing the product, I said, listen, don't put a price. I talked to my product managers and they said, what? I said, do not put price. I just want an Excel sheet. Let the customer check what he wants, which I would say SKU you want, what is the things that you want in this product, and let him put the price. Guess what? The customer was putting double the price that my team was intended to put.
Amazing.
This is
articulation
how
of value.
I got my this is how I got my first award with Johnson Control. It was about margin, and it's very short timing, within exactly 11 months.
Yes. And I think it's important because early stage catalysts, and this is why it was interesting, like looking what you had, what you're sharing out in the world, going back to, is it connect and elevate? Is, when we're junior in our careers, catalysts, we don't always think with that sort of bottom line, hardcore business sense, which is something that I know you're talking to as you're communicating with your audience, because it's like, you need to be aligned to the business. Loubna, I just want to be respectful of time. This was an amazing conversation. Okay. Tracy and I have so many more questions, so maybe we can have you back on. But thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Okay, Tracy, you are on mute.
It has been such a joy getting to know you and to hear about the very important work you're doing. And I agree with you. I love how you landed everything with really concrete examples. It has really been so useful to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you, Shannon, for this invite. I'm super excited to answer to all your questions. And honestly speaking, sharing with you all this informations and examples, it makes me remind, because when you are in the field, you don't realize what you're doing, right, until you keep repeating it yourself, or to someone amazing like you to share this experience and make it an example, because sometimes I took it for granted, right? And it's like normal things to do. Then I realize we're talking with a lot of women and people around. It is something that build in mindset that you more getting to not being afraid of talking. That's the key point of sharing, because the ideas, believe me, a lot of people, they have them. A lot of people. It's not like something new. It's just the environment, the conditioning, and how we've been educated also cannot let you think out of the box, because you think that this is it and we need to execute it. It's not true. A lot of leaders are looking for someone who's going to come and bring new ideas, not necessarily come in and start firing people to make the margin, because that's what people think. It's not true. It's not my way of doing things. There is a lot of opportunities in the market to look after too.
Well, thank you for being out there and speaking with courage so that other women can be emboldened as they see you do it and learn from the steps that you've taken. It's a joy.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Shannon. Do you want another slot for continuing, or do you think it is enough?
And thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to learn more about how to create bold, powerful change in the world, be sure to check out our book, Move Fast, Break, Ship, Burn Out, or go to our website. Oh, hello, other person, at www.catalystconstellations.com.
If you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did, please take 10 seconds to rate it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And of course, if you have other catalysts in your life, please hit the share button and send a link their way. Thanks again.